I just found out who is going to win the Premier League this season, and it's probably not who you are thinking right now. Every year, millions of football fans make the same mistake when trying to figure out what Premier League team will be sitting in first position after game week 38. Firstly, they look at who spend the most money. But that's where the problem starts, because going into this season, Manchester City just broke the British transfer record. Chelsea also broke their own transfer record 2 weeks later. But surprisingly, this transfer record doesn't tell the full story about English football. Here is the problem with this. 12 months ago, Liverpool spent over £444 million in one single transfer session. That's the most any Premier League team have ever spent in one transfer window. Isak, Vets, Ekitike, Frimpong, Kekes. On paper, this squad should be comfortable defending their title. But that was not the case because they finished 5th, and the manager who won them this trophy in his first season got sacked. So spending isn't the answer. So the real question isn't who bought the best players this summer. It is which of the top 6 Premier League clubs actually built something that guarantees them first place when the season finally comes to an end. And to answer that correctly, I pulled out every important historical data till this point. Starting from how new managers actually perform in their first season, how defending champions normally perform, what each club really did this summer behind the headlines, and more importantly, how deep their squad depth and their academy system actually is. So yeah, sit back and relax while I actually prove to you who wins the Premier League this season based on data alone. So let us start with the hardest historical fact in English football. Since the Premier League started in 1992, only 3 clubs have successfully defended the title the following season: Manchester United, Chelsea, and Manchester City. Arsenal have won only 4 Premier League titles since then, in 1998, 2002, 2004, and more recently, 2025. And what is more shocking is that they have never for once retained the title the following year. Not even once, almost in a 30-year period. And it's not just an Arsenal problem. For a period of 9 consecutive seasons, no defending champions in the Premier League went back to back. In the years right after this pattern started, the reigning champions' average finish the next season was 7th place. Manchester United dropped to 7th after Ferguson's final title run. Leicester City dropped to 12th after an incredible title run. In those 9 seasons, the defending champions was outspent in the following transfer window: 7 times out of 9 by the same team that went on to win the league instead. The only 2 exceptions are Manchester United in 2010-2011 season and Leicester in 2015-2016 season, who spent roughly under £35 million combined and still went on to win the title. But everyone who tried to replicate this failed. So when Arsenal walks into this season as favourites, they are not just defending the trophy, they are attempting something this specific club have never done since the beginning of the Premier League era, and also against an historical pattern where the house always wins. But here is where Arsenal's case actually gets interesting, because if you are worried about the squad depth being the reason a title race collapses, what if I told you Arsenal already beat that before? Through the back half of last season, Arsenal's defense was genuinely in crisis. Gabriel missed 10 games with an hamstring injury. Piero Hincapié missed 8 with a groin injury. Ben White, William Saliba, Mascherano all missing extended stretches simultaneously. Mikel Arteta called it relentless, and somehow Arsenal still finished the season 7 points clear of Manchester City with a backline that was barely intact for months. Now, let us look at the managers and why this is actually more important than what any transfer fee actually means. In the entire history of the Premier League, only 6 managers have ever won the Premier League title in their first season. Mourinho did it at Chelsea in 2004 with a defensive record that still stands today: 15 goals conceded in the entire season. Ancelotti in 2009, Pellegrini in 2013 with Manchester City, Conte in 2016, who was busy switching formation mid-season, Arne Slot and Liverpool in the 2024-2025 season. That's only 6 out of 30 seasons. So winning immediately isn't the rule, it is an exception. Which brings us to Andoni Iraola, Liverpool's new manager. His track record is good, but it's a slow build. 3 seasons at Bournemouth, finished 12th, then 9th, and finally finished 6th in the final season with a European qualification. This is a manager with a genuine upward progression, but there's a significant gap between finishing 6th with Bournemouth and winning the EPL title with Liverpool, and nothing in his history tells us he can close this gap yet. Manchester City's position is kind of riskier. Because Enzo Maresca isn't just new to Manchester City, he's new to management at this specific level of expectation and pressure. Pep Guardiola is gone after 10 years and 8 top 2 finishes. City responded by breaking the British transfer record for Elliot Anderson, £160 million, pushing their total spend past £800 million in the span of 3 years. But no amount of spending actually answers the most important question hanging over Manchester City this season. Can Maresca hold a dressing room built around Pep Guardiola's identity while under maximum scrutiny to deliver immediately? History says that's genuinely hard, even for elite managers. Remember, only 6 managers have been able to do this since the beginning of the Premier League. Chelsea are running the exact same experiment with Xabi Alonso with their own record-breaking signing. Morgan Rogers for £180 million after finishing 10th last season. New manager, new investment, but starting from a much lower position than Manchester City and Liverpool. Manchester United are the only true exceptions, and here's why. Mikel Carrick isn't a new appointment being thrown into the fire. He has been confirmed as the new manager after an incredible 3rd place finish and finishing the season with 71 points. That's far from a fresh start, that's actually continuity. And continuity after overperformance is exactly the profile that the marketers and pundits underestimate. You cannot really blame them because no one has fully understand where Manchester United stand this season. But before we go further, let's look at what is actually happening beneath the scouting system and their academies, because this is something nobody is actually talking about. And if you look at it closely, it could play an important role in determining who wins the Premier League this season. According to Training Ground Guru Academy ranking, Chelsea have finished number 1 for 3 straight years, with Arsenal 2nd and Manchester United 3rd. A separate independent study that actually measures first team academy minutes has Chelsea and Arsenal at the very top of the entire league. Chelsea's academy graduates played roughly 5,673 minutes across the entire league, ahead of Manchester City, ahead of Arsenal. Manchester United, who had led every single part of this edition since 2018, actually dropped to 4th, overtaken by Manchester City academy pipeline. But why does this matter for a title race? Because a club that can promote genuine first team quality from its academy has something no transfer fee can buy you. Squad depth that doesn't require another 9-figure fee, and a player's loyalty that doesn't evaporate the moment a bigger club comes calling. Bukayo Saka for Arsenal, Phil Foden for Manchester City. And we have seen in this transfer window how nearly your best player can leave your club when a big club calls. Rodri, Cucurella, Julian Alvarez, all popular examples of what happens when a bigger club starts calling. And not only that, sales of academy players count as pure profit under the Premier League financial rules, giving the parent club enough revenue to actually go and purchase players for important positions. Like we are currently seeing with Chelsea football team, selling off enough academy graduates and using this money to fund their expensive buy. Morgan Rogers, Danny Welbeck, Joanny Quenda. We can really see this as important financial assets for Chelsea Football Club. So now, let us go to the most important statistics, what the marketers are actually saying, what polling market is saying about who is going to win the Premier League this season. Because looking at the odds from your favorite sports book, you can clearly see the trend. Arsenal is sitting at roughly 40% chance of winning the Premier League title again. Manchester City are 2nd at around 29%. Liverpool comes 3rd at 15%, which tells you the market isn't really pricing where they finish. It's pricing what the squad is actually capable of under a functional manager. Manchester United sit at around 40%, despite outperforming Liverpool last season. That gap between the table and the market tells us exactly what the market is thinking. And separately, prediction markets like Carrick is almost saying the same thing. Arsenal at around 40%, City at 23%, and everyone else dropping off sharply after that point. Two completely different systems, priced independently, yet landing on the exact 2 names at the top. When that happens, it's usually not a coincidence. So now, where does all this actually point to? Number 1, there won't be a shock winner. The history is almost brutally consistent on that point. Except for Leicester City, no champions have come outside from the realistic top contenders. But it's also not blind trust in City's spending power, because the biggest variable hanging over City is whether Enzo Maresca can do it, replacing arguably the greatest manager in the Premier League history. This precisely are situations where no transfer record or market strategy can price in. History says immediate success after a new manager happens once in 5 years. But these 2 reasons alone is not enough to actually write Manchester City off, but to actually consider them a good title contender. But as for me, in my own prediction, Arsenal retains the title race not because they are the defending champion, but because of what actually happened last season. A squad that lost half of its backline to injuries yet still finish the season finishing 7 points clear. That alone has already answered the hardest question a title race asks. And the squad reinforced by nearly £250 million before the season starts. And on top of all of that, a manager who has shown finishing as the runner-up 3 straight times in a row, and an academy system that's only second best to Chelsea in the entire league. These few points alone have confidently built a strong evidence of Arsenal actually going back-to-back in the EPL trophy. So now, if you think I'm actually wrong, you can actually drop your predictions in the comment section below. Who you think might actually go on to win it?